When I was 15 years old, I realized I actually wanted to get good in my exams in school. So I began preparing for my geography end of topic exam. I wrote down on a piece of paper that I wanted to do practice papers for it. I wanted to make flashcards on it. And I also wanted to make notes from a certain book. And I put this on a piece of paper. However, 2 days later, I lost that piece of paper. And I remember being so frustrated that my entire revision plan, it wasn't just those points, I had other points as well, but my entire revision plan had been gone just because I wasn't organized enough in the way I planned out my work. After this exam, I scrolled on YouTube on how to be more organized, and I came across a application called Notion, and it was recommended to me by this YouTuber named Ali Abdal. Now, when I first came across Notion, this was everything I had been hoping for. This was the ultimate productivity system. I could plan anything I wanted. I could have daily calendars. I could have so many integrated systems to plan out my day and my plan for schoolwork that genuinely this felt like the solution to all of my problems. However, going deeper down that rabbit hole of Notion and productivity YouTubers, I came across a new problem, which was that everything was just so complicated. I remember scrolling through so many productivity gurus who had such complex and interconnected Notion databases with random features I didn't really need. All I wanted was some kind of system to track my life and to help me achieve my goal, which was to get good grades at the time. But none of these productivity YouTubers had a good enough, simplistic, usable system. Everything was just way too complex for no reason. And after buying some productivity templates on Notion and using dozens of them, I still haven't found a good enough productivity system that actually was useful for me. Everything was just way too intricate. I knew some literal people who, in this productivity space, who had their personality based off of Notion. Let me repeat that. Their niche on YouTube wasn't Notion. It wasn't just the niche of their channel. Their personality as a person was based on Notion just because of the amount of time they spent on the application. And I hated that over dependency on this Notion template. Yes, I wanted to organize my life. I wanted to become more productive through this application, but I didn't want to spend all my time on Notion. And this is why I created this video. In my opinion, and I know this sounds crazy, but I personally have built the best productivity system to reach your goals, whether this be academic, fitness, work related, on YouTube. I haven't seen a single Notion template that is more minimalistic, simpler to use, more useful, and also isn't just complex as my one. And I know that is such a out of the blue thing to say because of the productivity niche on YouTube having literally millions of dollars invested into it. There are YouTubers with millions and millions of followers who have these very, very complex Notion productivity systems. And I'm just some random brown guy from the southeast of the UK, but I can guarantee you, if you go through this Notion template, this will be the best template you have on Notion to achieve your goals and to be more consistent towards them. And also, I'm going to walk you through exactly some do's and don'ts on how to use this template more efficiently. If you don't know who I am an 18-year-old who's just finished their A-level exams, so the hardest exams in the UK. And I've built this channel on productivity and fitness. So if any of these two topics interest you, click on the subscribe button for more videos and click on the bell notification button so you get a notification every time I post a video. But let me get straight into my Notion setup. So this is my Notion template setup. As you can see, it is it's not that long and it doesn't look that aesthetic for a reason. But I'm going to walk you through exactly how I use it, exactly how you can use it, and the key components of how this workflow works. So before starting any of this, I want to explain exactly how this Notion setup works so it's easier for you to understand and for you to use. My entire workflow on Notion consists of 3 different things. All of these 3 systems are essential to achieving your goals, basically. The first one is a habit tracker. A habit tracker basically tracks what habits you are consistent in, so it makes you more consistent. The second one is something called the warm app. I know it's kind of cringe to say, warm app, it kind of sounds, cringy to say. But this idea is off this guy named Charlie Morgan. And it's basically when you have a massive calendar of work you need to do to achieve your goals. It's very, very simple. It's just a massive calendar that's synchronized and you can just plan your work for in the future, basically, based on your goals. And the third one is a daily planner. A daily planner is basically, as the name suggests, something you use to plan your day every single day. So to become more productive, you kind of need a schedule. And people use to-do lists. The better way to plan your day is just through time blocking each part of your day, basically. So I'm going to walk you through my entire Notion setup, how it works, and exactly how you use it. So as you can see, I have a pretty sick cover on my Notion banner. So this is a bit like a banner you can use, and this entire page is my main go-to page. Like as soon as I open up Notion, it lands me on this page. I have my name here, Shamir's HQ, and an emoji right here. I then have a quote that I really like, and this is my first bit of my productivity system, which is my goals. Everything in this system is underpinned by your goals. Like the reason we have this system right here is because of our goals, and we want to achieve them. So that's why I purposely arrange this in the way I arrange this with your goals first. Again, if you have goals, you should only really have 2, maybe 3 at the moment. You should practically get rid of every single other goal you have that isn't the 3 or 2 essential ones you have at the moment. So for example, if you're a student right now, you may have a goal of getting good grades in your exams, and then having like a fitness goal as well, and then maybe one more. Again, my goals are YouTube based right now because it's the summer, and also it's a gym goal. But this is kind of linked to this. These aren't 3 like separate goals. This like community that I want to launch is based on the new YouTube goal I have. So that's why like even 3 is too many goals, to be honest with you. So if you're like a student right now, you should have I have a goal of getting these grades in my exams, and then a fitness goal, and that's it. You shouldn't have like 10 different goals of like I wanna get good at like pen spinning and stuff right here. You want to have your essential goals that you actually care about right here. So now we have our goals right here. I want to walk you through my first main component of this productivity system, which is the habit tracker. Like I said before, the habit tracker is basically a table where you can track exactly what habits you did every single day. And my habit tracker looks like this. So if I expand this, I know these based on the emojis I have right here. I wouldn't recommend having more than 5 things on your habit tracker, because if it gets more than like 5, then you're pushing it, because your mind will just be more cluttered. Go read the book Essentialism if you don't believe me, but like you can't have too many things in your life, habit tracker wise. So I have meditate for 1 hour every day, 4 hours of deep work, going to the gym, and then tracking my diet and my calories because I want to cut down to 10% body fat. And I don't really have any other goals. If you want to add a new habit for yourself, you can go to this button right here, settings, and if you go to edit properties, and then if you go to add new property here, you could add any any habit that you want, and make sure you mark it as a like checkbox. Yeah, checkbox here. So imagine I had the goal, or like the habit I want to do is I want to read. I would choose the emoji right here, which is a book. Boom. And then I would add that here. And then boom, you have another habit. As so, I don't really want to read right now, so I'll take that off. But that's how you add a habit. I also have like a cool little design here where it tells you this like the score of the day. So like it gives you a daily score. So if I don't complete one of these, you see you have like a little animated board right here. Again, it's pretty simple. There's nothing too complex. If you want to add a day, so for example today, if I want to add like a count to this table, I click on the arrow down button here, and I go to daily planner template. So I click on this, and then I would click at, and then today, and then I get like a rank here for the day today, and also I can change the date for the day like you're recording the habit tracker for. And this brings me nicely on to the next segment of this video, which is the daily planner of my like, a little Notion template. So as you can see here, these rows aren't just static rows with just the date. This actually has an integrated daily planner with it. So daily planner, as you can see, is just a rough idea of the day, And you can just plan out what you're going to do per day through this daily plan. So for me, this is my like morning routine. So I have my morning routine in stone. However, I have a lot of freedom right here to do whatever I want. So before I go to sleep, I just plan out my day using this template. So I have more organization and more direction for the next day. And then also I have a gratitude journal right here where I can just, again, gratitude journaling is a very, very good habit that you want to do every single day. I got this idea by, I think it was Hamza, and he was saying something along the lines of like, the reason you do gratitude journaling as soon as you wake up in the morning is that you want to be in that sort of mindset of gratitude. You want to be thankful. It's not about like what you're grateful for. So basically, if you don't know what this is, you just write down 5 things that you're grateful for. So I'm grateful for like this camera, or I'm grateful for my compression shirt, or I'm grateful for how close my gym is to my house. You just write down things that you're grateful for, and it puts you in the mindset of gratitude, which is really good for mental health. But I try to do that every single day in the morning, and I also have a daily plan right here. And also using this daily plan, like it changes the checkbox here if on the daily planner, which is pretty sweet. So that's my habit tracker and my daily planner. Again, you could probably see how you can customize it to your own benefits. Like I'm not telling you, you can have your own morning routine here. You don't have to have mine. Even though I do think that eating the frog in the morning and like waking up early and working is kind of what I promote on this channel. So I would recommend you have the kind of the same morning routine as me. But you can like customize this to your own benefits. And yeah, that's my habit tracker and my daily planner. One thing I would say is that I also have this habit tracker stuck up on my wall. So again, this is something I got from Hamza, which is the, again, I don't condone everything Hamza says, but I just think that his like self-improvement advice is pretty good. But I have my like these exact habits on my wall right there, so I can check them off on my wall. And the reason you have it on your wall is just it's always in your face. So every time you look at the wall, you look at the habit tracker and you're like, oh damn, I haven't done my deep work for today, so I need to do that. And it's just in your face. Whereas if like with something like this, you can kind of hide it away. You can kind of hide your Notion away, and it's out of your mind, which kind of makes your brain more likely not to do it. But if you have this on your wall and also in here, the reason that we have it in here is just because it creates like a count. So one thing I think Hamza's wrong with is he just has his habit tracker on his wall on a piece of paper. There's no way of documenting exactly how your day has been in the past, or how your days have been, or how consistent you have been. So by having it on your Notion template and also on your wall, it gives you the documentation, and also it's always in your face. So at the end of each day, I take all of these off, and then I take off my ones on the wall. So it's just better for both the Notion and also in real life on my wall. So that's my habit tracker and my daily planner. Then the third main thing in my Notion setup is my wall map. So again, my wall map, the wall map does sound kind of cringe, but basically what this is if I have like a YouTube video to record, or I have like a task to do, or a task that comes up in my brain that I have to do for my YouTube channel, I can just schedule it in here. So I can just imagine it's like script video about productivity about Notion. And then I can change the status here to whether it's done or it's not done. I can also, like, what I also try to do is whenever I finish a task right here, I can strike through it, which is not able to do right now for some reason. Anyway, but yeah, you can strike through this when you're done, and also you can like filter this property as done when you're done with a task. So I would write about this task and then schedule it in for a particular day, and I can move this around, which makes it very, very good for organization. I also have Notion on my phone, so I have this as a home page widget, wherein I can see this as well, which also makes it more helpful for organization and stuff. So yeah, it's very, very simple how the wall map works. You just add tasks that you need to do for your goals specifically on this one calendar. Again, I really want to reiterate, you don't want to put random tasks in your wall map. The wall map is specifically for tasks to achieve your goal. If I had a dentist appointment, I wouldn't put in the dentist appointment here. And that's something completely different. That's not what we're using our system for. Our system is specifically for achieving our goals right here. So if like there's any task that's not to do with achieving your goals right here, don't put it in this warm up, because it just dilutes everything. It just makes it way more overwhelming than it needs to be. And also, you can't, like, as soon as you start tracking stuff like your dentist appointment, you can't go half-assed on it. You need to track everything or nothing. So that it just makes you more likely to quit using it if you use it for other things than just your goals. Just trust me on this. Just use this for your goals. So if you have like a test coming up, just have the tasks you need for the test on this warm up. So now we've covered like the main setup or outflow of my Notion homepage. Just the habit tracker and the warm up and the daily planner alone is a better Notion than most people have. But I decided that I'm here already, like I may as well just show you my entire Notion tour, like give you a little tour so you can see exactly how I use my one. It's really simple, like this is literally it. But I also have a gym habit tracker. I'm going to make another video on exactly how I use this as well, because I think this is a big problem in the gym community as well. I think everyone who uses Notion templates for the gym doesn't actually go to the gym seriously. And everyone who goes to the gym seriously uses some like crap notebook, which it just doesn't work. So I made like a good intermediate. Imagine I'm hitting pool today, so I have my pool workout here and I have all of my sets right here. So I can change like my weights during my workout session, so I don't have to do it on notes. And also this, like it documents how my weights have increased over time. As you can see, like it has a big documentation of exactly how my weights have increased over time, so it's easier for me to see how I've progressed in the gym using this. So I'm going to give you this entire Notion framework for free. So if you do go to the gym, all you need to do if you're hitting legs or pull or push is you click on this arrow right here, and then you click on whatever day you're doing. So if I'm hitting push day, which is like chest and everything, I would hit this, and you can customize this template yourself. But yeah, I'm not hitting push today, I'm hitting pull today, which is like biceps and stuff. So that is my gym section of this Notion template. Then I have YouTube, of course, because I'm trying to grow on YouTube. So I have my YouTube outflow, which is exactly how like I prepare videos on here as well. And I have my like research for my YouTube videos, how I research topics for this video. I also have like an archive, like any pages that I make randomly. So if I want to make notes on some random thing and like they're good notes, I archive it in this one thing. So yeah, I have pretty good notes. I don't have much right here. Yeah. This is like a 2022 thing where I planned out my mock, like November GCSE mock plan, which is pretty sick. I think this is Ali Abdal's. Yeah, Ali Abdal's How's to Study for Exams notes. But yeah, that's just the archive of how I track everything basically. And yeah, I also journal. So this is like whenever I want to journal about something or whenever something is in my mind, I also just journal by adding a page right here, saying that, like titling my journal entry. So for example, Notion video thoughts, and then I date the thing, and then I journal through here as well. That's basically everything I use for, and then I journal on here. But that's basically everything I use my Notion for. Again, I do think that this is, like, I haven't seen a better Notion than my one. It doesn't look pretty, but this is very, very useful and very, very powerful if you use it consistently. Hopefully you've liked my little Notion tour, and we'll get back to the things you need to look out for when you're using this Notion template. So now you've seen my entire template, you can now recognize how simple, useful, and minimalistic it really is. I personally haven't found any other Notion template like this one, or for the use of what I want to use Notion for. But here's some mistakes that you may make when you're using this template, and some things to look out for when you're using this template for productivity. The first point is that my template for Notion is minimalistic, but it's not that aesthetic. So when you watch the video, you probably saw, and I mentioned that my design on my homepage is very, very simple. Like if you look at productivity YouTube as a whole, and if you go and type on YouTube the Notion, like the best Notion template, you're going to see all of these really, really cool looking aesthetic Notion setups. However, I've been down that rabbit hole as well. I really wanted to have a really clean, like really cool looking Notion. But I realized that I've bought Notion templates from other YouTubers as well. And I've used like very, very complex ones. However, I realized that the reason we're using Notion isn't for looking good. Do you understand? This is the same thing as deferring, right? Our goal is to achieve our goals and not to look cool achieving our goals. Like, of course, like, we don't want our Notion setup to be messy or anything. We don't want it to be clustered. But like the simplistic version of my one is probably what you should be aiming for. Like, my one's very, very simple and it's very easy to use and it's very customizable. If something random goes wrong in one of these like complex aesthetic Notion setups, like no one really knows how to use Notion to its full capacity, so you don't know how to fix it after that. So the reason mine's so simplistic and like not overly aesthetic is just because I understand that to achieve a goal you don't need a cool looking Notion. You just need like a system that works for you. So again, going forward, even if you don't want to use my template and you want to design your own one from scratch, just prioritize the effectiveness of the template rather than aesthetics. And by the way, this is for everything. I think I was doing my GCSE exams and I knew this girl, she used to prioritize her handwriting. Like, she used to write really, really nicely in her exams. But she would always run out of time in her like exams, so she would get a bad grade because of that. And I would tell her that like it doesn't really matter about the handwriting, but she was so certain about like it was like she wanted to make her answers look really, really neat. But that's not a goal. Like, as a student, my handwriting was absolutely trash. Like, it was barely legible, but it meant I wrote more and therefore got better grades because of that. Again, just stay with me on this analogy. My goal was to get a good grade in that subject, and therefore it didn't really matter about the handwriting. It just meant like I had to write more. It's the same thing with this. Our goal is to achieve our goals in like personal development. It's actually to achieve our goals and to have a system that works effectively. And it's not just to look cool on YouTube or social media or tell your friends. So by prioritizing the aesthetic value of the Notion page, like loads of people do online, you're actually taking away from your progress in that goal. So yeah, again, this is kind of a ranty point, but just keep that in mind when you're using Notion. The second thing I want you to look out for when you're using my Notion setup is that this system doesn't track everything. Again, I briefly mentioned this in the video. However, there are YouTubers online that will track everything in their life on a Notion template, right? So when I started looking at Notion for the first time, I came across YouTubers such as Ali Abdaal, this guy named Thomas Frank, Matt Diavella, who would use Notion for tracking everything in their life. So they would track taking out the trash or having a dentist appointment, or if they like remembered something random, they would track projects, they would track all of their schoolwork, all of their like office work, they would track literally everything in their life that you could think of, they would track in Notion. And there's nothing wrong with that. However, the system that I designed is specifically for your goal related tasks. The way my Notion page is set up is that you have your goals at the start of the Notion page. So everything that isn't related to your goals shouldn't be on your like Notion template. So if you have a goal of, imagine you're a student right now and you have a goal of getting all nines at GCSE or getting a specific grade in an A level, and then you have a fitness goal as well. All of the stuff that you plan in your planner for this setup should be related to those goals. If you have another thing like, oh, I have to buy my like new iPad screen cover, you don't put it in this system because it dilutes what it's actually meant to be used for. If you have an exam and that's one of your goals, you would put tasks relating to that goal and basically nothing else other than that. This is a mistake that I did when I first started. I would have like these tasks that I needed to do for my GCSEs, which I was doing at the time. But I would also put random other tasks, like I had to like buy a screen protector for my smashed phone screen protector. I needed to buy a new water bottle. And I would just have a gigantic amount of work planned. But I didn't really like, when I looked at my page, everything would just overwhelm me because I had everything in that one like planner. But we want to be essentialists and we want to be minimalistic with the way we plan. So only having tasks that are very, very high priority and that you need to do that relate to your goal should go on this Notion page and nothing else. That is something that I've wasted so much time on, and that's also the reason I had a Notion template and then I just quit for a few years just because it was too complex. I'm not telling you that you can't plan your entire life through Notion. A lot of people do that. However, there's a specific way you have to do that, and you have to have an in-depth understanding of Notion. If you want to do that, I would recommend you reading Building a Second Brain by this guy named Tiago Forte. And he basically says that like this system of planning everything in your life, literally like everything to a T through Notion, is explained through this book. But this is very hard to do. I've personally tried to do this and I kind of failed. But again, just to reiterate, this Notion template is only for achieving your goals. The third thing you have to look out for when you're using this Notion template is that it doesn't matter if you're not 100% consistent with this. When I first started using Notion, I had a habit tracker sort of thing, like an organization system. But I remember I randomly missed out 2 days on like a weekend for some reason, right? I came back on the Notion and then I just got so angry that I just rage quit and then quit the entire Notion page. This is something you shouldn't do, because objectively, if you use this Notion template and you're not even like, if you're not 100% consistent, even if you're like 30% consistent, you're 30% better than your day would have been not using this Notion template. So it doesn't matter if you're like not consistent at all. There is a 100% certainty that you're not going to be consistent with this Notion. If there's anything I can guarantee you, it is that you will miss some day, or like you'll miss something someday on this Notion template. But how you react to that is how well the success of this Notion template is governed. So if you like miss out a day on your habit tracker, or if you forget to plan something on the wall map, and you just rage quit on the Notion page, that will objectively cause your life organization to go down and you won't achieve your goals as fast. However, if you stick with it, and if even like, you should have the really positive mindset of, oh yeah, it doesn't matter if I wasn't consistent these last 2 days, I'll just try my best to be more consistent these coming days. That's how consistency is built. The skill of being more consistent will be built if you just try to override that feeling of just like quitting this entire Notion page. Because if you just stick with this one Notion page and you're consistent for the next few months, you'll be so much more consistent towards your goals than if you didn't have anything like this. Those are the 3 things that I would recommend you look out for on this Notion template. Hopefully this Notion template will actually give you some organization to achieving your goals. If you want to see more videos like this, click on the subscribe button down below. Click on the notification bell again if you want to get a notification every time I upload something, which is going to be on productivity and fitness. Share this video to someone who has a trash Notion template, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.